So I have already talked about diadochokinetic rates or collecting DDKs as part of your oral MEC assessment. Another way that we can go about doing this that will also allow us to evaluate accurate, rapid oral motor movements required for speech production, and more specifically, will allow us to observe inconsistency in those movements within speech production, is this task known as Buy Bobby a Puppy. So speech inconsistency is a core feature of childhood apraxia of speech, or CAS. And these authors looked at whether or not this particular stimuli, that phrase "buy Bobby a puppy," would have good diagnostic accuracy, sensitivity, and specificity for identifying kids with and without CAS. The article that their findings were published in is Speech Inconsistency in Children with Childhood Apraxia of Speech, Language Impairment, and Speech Delay Depends on the Stimuli. And this is published in the journal Speech, Language, and Hearing Research, which is one of the ASHA journals. And what they found was that speech inconsistency is a core feature of CAS. And this particular phrase, "buy Bobby a puppy," they found to have really good sensitivity and specificity or diagnostic accuracy for identifying kids with and without CAS. So, what this involves is what it sounds like. This is, again, one way that we can assess inconsistency and rapid alternating motor movements, where if we do see deficits in this area, so lack of consistency, oral groping, um, inaccuracies and stress, then that would support this working diagnosis or this hypothesis that we have for this child is potentially having childhood apraxia of speech or potentially dysarthria, but motor planning issues for sure. And so the phrase is "buy Bobby a puppy." And the researchers found that if a child demonstrates at least one production of "buy Bobby a puppy" that's different, so that one instance of inconsistency, they should be considered as potentially being a candidate for a diagnosis of CAS. And so this is what it sounds like. This is a picture that you could use as the stimuli for the task. There is a hyperlink here that will take you to an audio file of the phrase being modeled. I've never used that. I think that, you can kind of do it on your own. But this is the little script that you can follow. It says our friend Bobby is walking through the park with his parents. He sees an animal shelter selling puppies and he really wants one. We should tell his parents to buy Bobby a puppy. We are going to hear the man at the shelter tell Bobby's moms to buy Bobby a puppy, and then it's your turn to say it 5 times in a row. Just repeat what the man says 5 times, and you count. So a more fun, kind of less formal way of going about the same sort of task as those patakas. And I have a video here that will show an SLP administering the task and then kind of talking through and providing an example of some inconsistencies in the production.